50 years ago, one paycheck could buy a house, raise a family, and still leave something left over. Today, that same effort barely covers rent. This is not a feeling, it is a measurable shift in how the economy treats the people in the middle.
I've got a mandate to help middle class families and families that are working hard to try to get in the middle class. That's my mandate. That's what the American people said. They said, work really hard to help us.
Today, we are breaking down one of the most talked about and most misunderstood trends in modern economics, the shrinking middle class. We will look at what's actually happening to wages, why housing has become nearly unreachable for a new generation, and why some economists argue the story is not simple as it sounds. So now let's start with paychecks. Since the late 1970s, productivity in American economy has climbed steadily. Workers are producing more value per hour than ever before. But wages for most workers haven't kept pace with that growth. The gap between what workers produce and what they take home has been widening for decades. And the divide isn't evenly spread. Recent wage data shows a clear split by income tier. Higher earners have continued seeing solid wage growth while middle and lower earners have seen their raises shrink to crawl, in some cases falling behind inflation entirely. Economists have started calling this a K-shaped economy, one line of the chart climbing and the other flattening or falling from the exact same point. If stagnation is slow leak, housing is where pressure becomes impossible to ignore. In the decade since 1980, home prices have climbed far faster than household incomes. Today, the ratio between median home price and the median household income sits at level most financial planners would consider deeply unaffordable, and almost no major metro area in country currently meets a reasonable affordability threshold. The result shows up in real milestones. The share of first-time home buyers had fallen drastically since early 1980s, and the average age of first-time buyer has climbed by roughly a decade. More young adults than ever are staying in their parents' home well into their 20s, not out of choice but because the traditional first step into the middle class, which is home ownership, keeps moving further out of reach. Faced with stagnant paychecks and rising costs, many families haven't cut back. They have borrowed instead. Meanwhile, at the very top of the income ladder, wealth has grown at a pace most of the economy hasn't seen in generations. The distance between the richest households and everyone else keeps widening, even during periods when the broader economy is technically expanding. On the paper, the economy looks healthy, but underneath that, a headline number, a growing share of households are stretching further every month just to cover the basics. Here is where the story gets more complicated and more honest. Not every economist agrees that the middle class is disappearing. Some researchers argue that when you adjust for inflation properly, a large share of households once counted as middle class hasn't fallen, they have actually moved up into a growing upper middle tier. Under that view, middle class is not shrinking because people are getting poorer. It's shrinking because most people are getting richer and the definition of middle keeps sliding upward to match a rising bar. Now both readings can be true at once. Incomes overall have risen, but the security that used to come with being middle class, a home you can afford, a retirement you can count on, or a job that doesn't feel precarious has become more harder to hold on to, even for households earning more than their parents ever did. So is the middle class shrinking or just being redefined? The honest answer is a bit of both. Wages for most people have grown slower than the cost of the life they were promised. Housing once was the clearest ladder into stability, now has become one of the steepest climbs in the modern economy. And whether you count that as shrinking or relocating upward, the lived experience for millions of households is the same. Working harder, earning more on paper, and still feeling like ground keeps moving. If this kind of breakdown helps you make sense of economy, follow along. We dig into stories like this every week. And let me know in the comments, does the middle class feel smaller to you or just different?